Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. This is Kana and you're in my corner. I'm here with a very special guest. You've been waiting for him. You're all rallied up, at least I hope so. Would you like to say hi to all the listeners out there who are waiting for your grand arrival?
Hello, I am Yusei Fudo, and I voice Carson Laidlaw.
Well, very nice to meet you.
You too. And
Now,
I will...
oh, go ahead.
Oh, there's the interruptions I was talking about before. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was kind of curious because I'm not exactly sure which name to refer to you as because you have several on the internet. And I'm sure there's a big long story we can pull out of you from that one because you're known originally as Semi-Soma, but now you're going by the TheAzureCrow.
Okay, do you want to hear the history of my names then? First time I came onto the internet was on a .hackers forum called .hackers.net where I called myself Azure Crow. When I went onto YouTube, I abandoned that because I kind of wanted to separate myself from that, and I called myself Semi-Soma, which is the name of a sword of a character I made up when I was like 4. I later found out it actually had meaning. It was gibberish back then. So I made the account. I forgot the password to it, so I made Semi-Soma1, and then I went by that for the longest time, and then that got banned, so I made Semi-Soma01, and that's generally around where most people came to know me, because that's where, that's the person they always heard of voicing Yusei Fudo, and that's all anyone knows me for. And after that, I kind of wanted to ditch that because I didn't like how pretentious Semi-Soma was. It means half-god. So I went back to the Azure Crow. You can call me the Azure Crow or Carson Laidlaw.
All right, well there you go. And if it makes you feel better, my name on air is Chikanoshimi, which actually means sadness. But I was 9 years old and I picked it because it sounded pretty.
Can I call you Kana? Because that's...
Yes, please
Okay,
do.
that's or... I can't use your real name, can I?
You can call me Jackie. That's fine.
Oh, alright, cool.
Yes, I don't. I don't
Because
care if anybody knows my real name. If you
'cause
stalk me in real life, I'll hit you with it.
I really like the name Jackie. That's a name I've always really liked on girls, so I'll probably
Oh,
call
well,
you
thank you. Now, I am kind of curious because you've not only done a lot of, the fan dubbing work, but you also did, real work. You're also doing it for a living. But I'm curious, were you always interested in acting, or was an astronaut in the cards before that?
No, I actually wanted to be a carpenter around the time I got into voice acting, because that's what my dad did. I saw Naruto abridged way back when I was, had to be 14. It was back in, like, the first year it was out. And I kind of got linked to it, and I thought to myself that, like all other internet parodies, it would be completely worthless and not worth my time. And I fell in love with it and watched everything that was out, which was 13 episodes at the time, all within, like, an hour, if that was even possible. And I wanted to get into acting from then on because I was a really shy, reclusive guy whose the biggest thing he ever did was join drama as a background character. And even then, for like 2 years, I didn't care about voice acting whatsoever. And then me and my girlfriend at the time started doing some fan dubs of Bleach scenes because we did Bleach Soma abridged, which is what most people know me for, apart from Yusei. And I kind of started doing more and more of those, and we did some larger projects that failed. But I got more into voice acting and realized how fun it was. And then my school, the class I was in, took a tour of Longtail Studios, which was a local place. And part of the stuff they did was voice acting. So I dropped them my YouTube link just for the fun of it, and they watched it, and then they called me back in, and I ended up voicing for them. And ever since then, I've been really hardcore into professional voice acting and whatnot, and it's become a dream of mine to be up there with some of the other people you'd be interviewing who are much more worthy than me.
Well, congratulations. I know that when you first start, going after some sort of ambitious project like that where you're heard and you're the center of it, it can be pretty daunting, confidence-wise. So I got to give you applause for that.
Yeah, I hated my voice back in the day, and I hated most of my work. But,
Well, if it makes you feel better, I used to think, oh, I want to be a voice actress, but I didn't have very much confidence, and so I ended up doing this, and now I'd much prefer staying with this.
Jackie, I envy you. I've told you this before, but the stuff you do here is stuff I've wanted to do, which is why I'm kind of weaseling my way into some of your other broadcasts and Kusari's shift and stuff.
Oh, I see how it is. Next thing I know, I'm going to get a DJ application from you.
Hey, I'm going to be the unofficial DJ. I'm going to be the guy that releases something, contacts whoever's on the air, and is like, hey, can I pop in for a second? I just got this movie out, everyone.
Well, you're gonna have to compete with crows.
Okay, that's fine.
It's like, that's easy. He's full of
I'll
fail
compete with
anyway.
crows.
Now, obviously, you did a bunch of fandom projects on the internet. Were you a little bit surprised when you got notoriety from it?
Yes. The first thing that happened actually wasn't for a fan dub. It was Gurren Lagann the Satire, which is the freeform parody of Gurren Lagann that I've been doing for about 2 years now and took a 1 year hiatus of until this week. I'll talk more about that later, though. I got contacted by some people working at Gynex, a couple of the founders who worked on Gurren Lagann, and I was really taken aback that they loved the work and they supported it and they started giving me their footnotes and stuff so that I'd be correct. And ever since then, people from Bandai and Ocean have been contacting me, and it is just, I don't feel like I'm worth the attention that I get online, but it is just such an honor and so humbling too to have such huge people contacting you and saying they want you around. It's been kind of hard not getting a big ego over it, but I think I've been managing. It is, I don't know. What do you? It's kind of like I guess how you would feel. You talk to big names all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I will say though at this point it's very rare that I get affected by it, but when it's people from my childhood or people that I really admire, I can't help but get it all excited and giddy and possibly fangirly, but not in a strange way.
I haven't met him directly, but that's kind of how I felt whenever I talked to Kyle Hybert once, who was, I tried to get him to watch the satire and he never ended up doing it, but because he voices Kamina, I kind of wanted his opinion on it. By the way, Kyle, I don't know if you listen to this, but go watch it. I linked you like a year ago.
Well, I'm sure if you bug him over on Twitter, he's usually, a Twitter bug always has his iPhone around. But now, where did the idea to do the satire come from? Was that just a project you wanted to do because you loved the series, or were you inspired by something, or what happened there?
Flashback 2.5 years to when I was still part of the abridging community. That's another topic altogether. I keep mentioning other topics to go into. Guess that makes your job easy.
Definitely.
Flashback to then, I saw an AMV of Gurren Lagann, and I had never heard or seen anything of it, and I kind of read a synopsis, and I actually thought it was an anime about teams of mecha pilots who would travel around the world and fight each other, just because I heard Team Daiguren, and I figured that there were all sorts of teams. And I refused to watch it because it sounded like it was overhyped. And then about 2 months later, some of my friends got me to watch it, Kirtro and Midnight. We watched it together. Me and Midnight seeing it for the first time. We watched the whole thing in 2 nights, and I was just so blown away. It's like, a part of me was forever changed that day, and I spent the next 2 months telling myself that I was not going to make an abridged series of it because everyone would, and I adamantly fought myself, heart and soul. And then after a while, I figured if I did a solo project, and I called it a different name, then I would be able to do it. And it was just this overwhelming passion for the series that I'm not even sure I knew what I wanted to do at that point. I just wanted to do something with the series. And then me and my girlfriend at the time, won't linger on this, but we broke up and BSA ended. And I had been working on the first episode during that time, so I was planning on releasing it way later, but I released it and called it The Satire, because, by the way, to anyone who's curious, Gurren Lagann The Satire is not like, Gurren Lagann the Abridged, it's not a title, it's a reference to the Gurren Lagann itself being a satire of Super Mecha. But, so I released it then, and my heart and soul have just been so into it. I can't even explain it. When I release an act or an episode, it's just this incredibly passionate fire burns in my heart. Makes me feel like I'm actually accomplishing something.
Well, that's actually really neat. I mean, for me specifically, I'm a terrible person because I hadn't seen it until recently. But I must say that, the editing is how do I want to describe it? It's far more superb than most of the other sort of things I see pumped out from the anime community.
I pride myself on going a step beyond everyone. I think Gurren Lagann and me go hand in hand. We both have the up to 11 trope associated with us. I like to take things to the next level, like beyond anything anyone thought they could do. Gurren Lagann itself, which has been noted by a lot of people as being possibly more entertaining than Gurren Lagann, which I don't know if I agree with, but it's been said, is kind of the greatest example of that.
And I'm kind of curious, what's the process you use, or is there certain steps you go through when you're planning, the next portion?
Well, I have the whole thing planned. I've got the major speeches and themes planned out for the entire series. I have for a long time. And I've got a lot of things that, just like I did with BSA, when I started it, I planned a whole bunch of jokes that would seem harmless at the beginning, that would come back later on as really prominent themes and actually mean something, kind of like a boomerang joke. What's the term? A brick joke. I don't know if you've ever heard that term before, but I have a lot of brick jokes in there. Anyone, look that up on TV Tropes, people. And it's hard to explain my actual process of planning it. The way I see them is that I have to enjoy myself as much as I can, and the people who are doing it have to enjoy themselves as much as they can. And I seek to entertain that small group of people immensely and make them feel like they're accomplishing something just like I do. And it seems that if I can accomplish that, then everyone seems to love it. I find people seem to react very well to energy. I also have some rules, like I try not to have characters get angry at each other unless possible. I try to avoid most of the typical tropes of, like, I don't, like, most comedy. Like, in Everybody Loves Raymond, the comedy is conflict, conflict, conflict. I actually try to subvert that in the satire, and I try to make it that any comedy that comes out of it comes from the fact that everyone's being a little bit too nice and too motivating. Planning, though. My ultimate goal in the final episode is to make people feel like they can go out and accomplish something. I know that's a strange goal for a parody, but I want it to inspire people. I think that's my driving goal.
Would it be sort of in the way that when you see a really cool movie at the movie theaters, you come out and you're all pumped?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I want, I just want people to get kind of hot-blooded when they see it and feel like get the energy to go out and do something. The main theme being, if someone like me, who started with nothing, no intention to voice act, can do something that good, that amazing, not that I'm saying I'm amazing, but you know what I mean, then they can too. Which is very true. If you put your heart and soul into things, then you can, as long as you've got even the slightest bit of talent in you.
And the passion for it. You have to love it.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I hope that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. No police are gonna come after you with, like, you owe this much money. Don't worry, you'll be okay.
I'm sorry, any Christian mothers that might have been listening.
Soccer moms, we're sorry. Though I am sort of curious, you said that you got attached to real-life voice acting, and that must have been quite a surprise, just to, be like, hey, check out my YouTube, and they actually did it.
Yeah, actually it was. Part of it comes from that the company that makes it, that hired me, was very closely related to a comic book artist named Troy Little, who, he's a big person here on the island, but I don't know if you'd know about him there. But he had been recommending me to them for a long time, and because me and him met once in my art class when he came to visit, and he'd been trying to plug me ever since. So I kind of had some background going in, so they saw me like, we'll give this kid a chance, and they liked me, which is weird because I was a terrible voice actor back then. I guess they just liked the sound of my voice. I don't know.
So once they saw your YouTube, did they call you in for an audition? Did they have you do wall of work? What was the first step?
Well, they contacted me and asked me my schedule because they knew I was in high school, and they wanted to find out, like, if I would be in Charlottetown, which is an hour drive away from where I live and where they are. And once we'd gotten through all that information, they told me that they wanted me to come in and act because there were a few voice actors actually on the island, and they had a recording studio on there that was not really being used, and they wanted a wider variety of people to come in, and voice differentiation's that's my forte. So I was perfect for what they wanted. So they brought me in, and they didn't so much tell me, like, that they wanted me to do, X character. They told me that I was allowed to come in whenever I wanted and audition for things, and they would send me emails regarding whatever they were doing, because this isn't a dubbing company, it's a gaming company, an original Western gaming company. I think the most notable game I was in was one of the Medal of Honor ones, but I was a dying extra in that one. Yeah. But, so they sent me, past that point it was pretty impersonal, they just sent me emails and I'd go in, but I'd audition for everything that ever they would get out, and got quite a bit, so, what was the question?
It was basically, what was your first step? What was the first thing you did for them?
I don't remember the game, but if you're talking about roles, I voiced a little Irish dwarf that got kicked off a screen.
That is the best first star role I've heard of in a while.
I agree. I completely agree. I can't do I couldn't do the voice on the spot anymore because it took me a whole bunch of tries. But basically, it was just like a part of a game where, as I understand it, you were running through and you bump into this one piece of scenery that happened to be a little gnome, and he flies off screen yelling "Me boyo," and it was just it was it was a fun first role, and I look back on it very fondly.
I have to wonder, the first time you stepped into the booth, were you nervous? How did you react?
I almost walked out of it again because I almost broke down.
Oh.
It was the second job I'd ever had. The first one, and this might be interesting to you, was actually at a radio station. But it was the second job I'd ever had, and it was the first voice acting thing. And I was just kind of staring at a guy, behind all his little knobs and wheels and whistles and stuff that control the leveling and everything. He was telling me what to do. There was a script in front of me, and I was just kind of like, I am so not used to this. It was. I got used to it, but it was so nerve-wracking. I envy the people that can just walk in and be all awesome. Because I think even now, if I was to walk in, like, I'm really confident about myself now, but if I was to go into, say, Ocean Studios and pass by, I don't know, like, Richard Ian Cox in the hallway, I think I'd stop and sit down and catch my breath for a while, because I'd be like, oh my god, I'm here.
Well, I can kind of understand that. Sometimes when you're in a situation where you can be among peers that you've respected, it's kind of like flip-flopped. It's just you have to stop and let everything sort of sink in and not screw up anything.
Yeah. I see other voice actors as people and everything, but that doesn't mean that when I meet them I won't remember their voice actors. It's you'd be so much better at that than me.
You'd be surprised. It depends who it is. If it's David Hayter, we're not. That's pretty much it. If it's David Hayter,
you're a puddle on the floor at that point.
I tried very hard to keep a straight face in that interview without smiling ear to ear. But I will say that I have to admire the fact that you got up and did it, though I sort of wonder what sort of advice would you give people who are stepping into the booth the first time or sort of pursuing that sort of career?
Be really lucky, first of all, because getting into voice acting I think is 50% luck. You have to be in the right place, so make opportunities for yourself. Go talk to voice actors, get advice, find out where your local studios are. Accept any role, like anything you can ever take if you get the chance. Accept any role, no matter how small, and don't ever let your own sense of morality get in the way. If you have to voice for something that maybe you don't agree with, it's how it works. Just get into the role and get into character, and remember it's not you. As for unprofessional voice actors who are trying to learn to voice act, have confidence, and that's cool, but look at the people around you, and look at people who are better than you, and try to learn from them. Never stop and say, I'm as good as I'm ever going to be, and I'm amazing. Because as soon as you start treating yourself like you're incredible, you're going to stop growing both as a person and a voice actor. So always be willing to admit that there's someone to learn from. For example, right now, I'm taking a lot of advice, and I'm learning a lot from another voice actor on Studio Tumbleweed, who's named Seraphis. He's amazing. He's the closest thing to a Shakespearean actor we have, and I am doing my best to kind of learn from him. I'm trying to work on enunciation myself, because I slur quite a bit. You may have noticed, I don't know.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I have a lisp.
I didn't notice. I never noticed lisps, though. Kirtro's he says he has one, too, and I don't see it.
Though I have to agree with that latter part completely. I mean, when I started this, over a year ago, I would listen to my interviews and I'd nitpick, and I still do that. And if I didn't do that, I feel like I would just become terrible. I would just stop being, able to do this job properly. So I always have to, listen back and see where I can improve. And like I stuttered, I said, I did this, I did that. Be my worst critic, especially. So I agree with you 100%.
I find anyone who's willing to improve should be their best critic. Maybe they can't tell themselves what they can improve on, but they should at least have the sense that they need to improve on something.
Definitely.
We're going to take a short break here on 91.8 The Fan, but you want to keep it tuned to your favorite station, because when we come back, we'll still be here with our special guest.
Bob's Bob Bob's Bob's Bob Bob Bob's Bob Bob Bob's Bob Bob's.
What is this crap? Are you tired of hearing the same thing over and over? Don't worry, we are too. That's why we made 91.8 The Fan, so stay tuned.
Hey everybody, we're back to the interview, so let's jump right into it.
And I'm sort of curious, are there any projects that you have coming up that you can share?
Yes, this is the part where I shamelessly plug myself to death, isn't it?
Yes, pimp yourself out. Feel free.
Alright. Well, first of all, the satire is finally continuing after a year of hiatus. There's his own reasons for that. And hopefully we're going to get to the end of that within, I'd say the next year, because we just covered episode 18's material. Episode 17's material. No, episode 18's material. And we plan on, we're also dubbing Cross Wars, Digimon Cross Wars, doing a true to Japanese dub of it, because we know that when Bandai, God love them, gets their hands on it, they're going to turn it into a Digimon show, which it is, but this one's a little bit more interesting than previous seasons. We are also sort of planning to dub the first 3 episodes of Cross Wars. We've already got one done. And if they all maintain the same level of quality the first one has had, which was amazing, I love my actors for it, we're actually going to send it to Bandai and request that the majority of us, if not all of us, do the English dub of it. And we're going to offer our services for free, but we think that's the greatest way to get ourselves out there. And we're very willing to do that. If anyone's listening, Bandai, we'll work for free. We're pathetic like that. Other than that, I'm actually, before I came into this interview, I was redoing the sound effects for the second Gurren Lagann movie. We already fan-dubbed the first, which can be found at either www.youtube.com/Studio Tumbleweed, and the O in Studio Tumbleweed is a 0, or at www.youtube.com/TheAzureCrow. It'll be going up there soon. I was working on the sound effects for Logon Hen, the second Gurren Lagann movie, which will be finally getting done hopefully within 2 or 3 months. There's been a huge delay. It'll be almost a year late at this point. But that's fine, because we've all improved during that time. But apart from that, let's see. What projects do we have coming out? I think that's legitimately all we're working on right now. We normally have a lot more projects than that, but we are concentrating like you wouldn't believe on these 3 things.
Well, that's good, though. That means you've got sort of a plan. And do you have anything that you think you might do afterwards, once you're done with any of those projects?
Let's see. Well, these are just things I'm thinking about, not necessarily going to do. After the first 3 episodes of Cross Wars, if we're not hired on for the English dub, then we are going to just continue doing the series as a fan dub. After the Logon Hen movie, we're actually thinking about dubbing the Gurren Lagann series itself, starting at either episode 1 or episode 17, either in the middle of in the beginning of season 2 or the beginning of season 1, depending on where our interests lay. After the satire, I don't know if I'll ever do a parody again. Because I don't, if I did, it would be of something called it would be either Diebuster, Gunbuster, or something along those lines. Ah, that's good, actually. Diebuster. After Logon Hen's done, we're definitely going to be focusing on dubbing the Gunbuster and Diebuster movies /anime, which are basically Gurren Lagann with a female protagonist.
Yay, boobs.
Yay, boobs.
That's really all I have to say on that one.
God praise boobs.
So for people who want to see, more of your projects or just want to stalk you because they think you're devilly handsome, do you have a Facebook or a Twitter that you can let people know about?
I have a Twitter set up, but you'd have to find it yourself. I think it's listed under TheAzureCrow. That should be enough to help you find it. I don't pay much attention to it. I set it up, I linked it to my YouTube, and now it says whenever I post things, and that's the extent of what it does. I have a blog that is called The Nest that I update once a week or so that regards everything I'm in or I'm doing. That you can get there at http they call it : //TheAzureCrow, all one word, no underscores, .blogspot.com. I'm going to update that later on today, actually. And there's the obvious places you can find me, such as, www.youtube.com/TheAzureCrow, all one word, or the aforementioned Studio Tumbleweed link, which is Studio Tumbleweed with a 0 instead of an O. And, oh, geez, if you want to contact me on Skype, send me a message over YouTube. If you want my Facebook account, you're going to have to send me a message over YouTube, because I'm not just going to hand those out online to people I don't know. Sure. that's to be expected.
You want to keep some of your sanity.
Yeah, a little bit of it, whatever's left.
Well,
Apart from that, not a lot of places you can find me. I'm pretty concentrated.
I'm a little bit scared because last interview we did afterwards, they immediately got Skype invites. So hopefully that does not happen.
I love people. By the way, if anyone loves me and they want to tell me how much they love me, go ahead. It won't boost my ego. I just love hearing that people are enjoying my work.
Well, we
So-
have something in common then. High five. Yeah, there you go. I need a high five sound effect or something. So, I did want to say about one thing because I wanted to know, am I a terrible person for never seeing Gurren Lagann?
You are a horrible person, and until you do see Gurren Lagann, I'm sorry to say that if hell exists, you're going there.
Okay, that's okay. I don't believe in hell. So, no, I actually have you met our producer Kibbs. He bothers me all the time about that series. He's seen it himself, and I remember it was very awesome. And everybody on staff really loves a picture of Kamina riding a freaking dinosaur.
Well, you need to pass Gurren Lagann the satire around your people then. Because I know that the few of them that have seen it really enjoy it, and Kibbs totally needs to watch it too, I think. If you want to watch Gurren Lagann, though, Jackie, I'd be willing to watch it with you.
That would be very fun.
Awesome.
More riff tracks or something. Who knows?
I've got riff traps for Gurren Lagann. They're called Gurren Lagann the Satire.
There you go. I am kind of interested, though. We do have a tradition here on 91.8 The Fan, and I was wondering if you'd like to participate.
This is the plug, isn't it?
This is the radio bump.
That's what I thought. What do you want me to say?
Basically, you can say it in any voice you want, but we were wondering if you could say, "My name is," and you insert your name. I do this, you insert what you do, and you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Okay. Let's see. My name is Carson Laidlaw. I do Gurren Lagann the Satire and run Studio Tumbleweed, and you're watching 91.8 The Fan!
Very close, but you said watching instead of tuned in.
You are, screwing up is what I'm doing. I'm
Just,
sorry,
by
I've done
the
things like
way,
this before. I've done things like this before, but it's always been for video stuff.
It's okay. By the way, we are the bloopers on air, just so you know. I should
That's
mention
fine.
that.
That's fine. I'm Carson Laidlaw, and I screw up things a lot. Your radio station is the radio station that will pierce the viewers' ears. Oh my god, viewers. See how bad I am? Okay.
I'm enjoying it, if it helps.
I'm enjoying this too, regaining my composure. So I'm Carson Laidlaw, and I do Gurren Lagann the Satire, and you're watching, listening to Tuned Into.
Would it be easier if we typed it for you?
No, I'll do this. I'm Carson Laidlaw. I do Gurren Lagann the Satire, and you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan.
Woohoo!
Your drills and drills of Pierce Evans.
Well, okay, congratulations, you successfully survived the tradition.
Can I do one more thing, or are we going to be close?
Oh yes, you can totally, anything you want to add or say to the fans out there, feel free.
Just, this will have nothing to do with the conversation, but, people are expecting it, so. Card games on motorcycles!
And the IRC chat will go wild.
Yes, it will. And they'll be like, why didn't you do me too? And I'll be like, 'cause I did not want to.
Remember, you can find that interview on the website within the next few days, so make sure to keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want and nothing you don't.